we talk about success and Mary gave us her beautiful words. And I'm like, yes, 100%, like peaceful. Yes. I want to cultivate peace. I want 100% for people to feel safe around me. I want all of those things. But for any of that to happen, you have to be all of your things. And sometimes that's a monotone person who's trying to give you a compliment. Sometimes it's a little fucking chihuahua bouncing off the walls, getting real excited about all of the things. And sometimes it's somebody cussing you out, lovingly holding your hand.
You could tell me something a million times, but Mandy could tell me one time, and the way she said it, her tonality, like how she delivered the story, I'm going to be like, holy shit. I'm going to be mind blown. I'm going to be like, wow, why didn't I think of that? And Mary's going to be like, Cassie, I've been telling you that for freaking 15 years. And I'll be like, have you?
I literally love just now that we were talking about spice as words and metaphorical. And then all of a sudden the two of you just took off with like about food and spices. And I'm sitting here like, this is it. I fucking love it.
Well,
And
that's okay. Like I said, slap your mama. And I was like, I know she's going to say something Caucasian about it. Like, you're so white, Cassie.
You led with salt and pepper, which, yes, that's a good baseline. But shit, you say fuck, and the fuck is not salt or pepper. Okay, fuck is gonna be a slap you mama. Fuck is gonna be like the seasoning, salt, the hot sauces of the world.
3 women, 3 paths, 1 mission. To prove that your story is not your limitation, to guide you towards your muchness, to explore the unfiltered truths, and to challenge every bit of belief that built your mask. This is Go Be Too Much, the unapologetic space for the bold, the healing, and the unfinished, where we decide what's too much was always meant for more. So let's chat. Maybe we'll fuck around and find out just how unmissable we all are.
hello, welcome to Go Be Too Much, where we're going to yap about who knows what. And well, actually, that's not true. We know what we're going to at least start with today, but we just never know where it's going to go. I'm MJ, the host, and with me is Cassie and Mandy. And I'm going to let Mandy start us off today because from a conversation we were having before, she had some thoughts.
I feel like you did this to me last time, and I still am not prepared. No, because my brain is always processing after the fact. I think probably a lot of us are like that, but it's like, God, I wish I would have said that thing in this moment. And so I ferociously take notes while we record or while people talk, because I want to remember the moment. I want to come back to it. And you had said something in a previous episode about, I know I'm successful. And I sat with that on camera. I was like, am I? Do I feel successful? Because Mary, that just rolled off your tongue like so easy. And that's like, I wonder what Cassie would say. I'm like, have I reflected on this? Have I thought about this? Like, how do I even define success for myself? Because Cassie, you're forever talking about like the bar is here, and when you get right here, you're like, boom. Oh, that comment, I just was like, because also, we talk about in the previous episode of those negative thoughts, those negative beliefs, and like what we feed is what we believe. And like, do you believe you're successful? Do you give yourself a chance to feel successful? Or do you just like Cassie has mentioned many times, you just keep changing the goalposts, like keep moving the goalposts and making things less and less attainable. And then so it reinforces that negative belief of like, I'm not successful because I've never reached this. So that's where my brain was pondering after that comment. I don't know that I've settled on what I feel like success is for me, but it's just what was sitting with me.
Well, and it's setting the bar higher and higher. Like I'm always a new goal, new thing that I want to accomplish, new thing to achieve, new interest, whether it's hobby, and having success with, because this success can come with many different avenues in life, right? So if we're just thinking about like career, right? I guess what would say to you that for your career, you're not successful? What do you think?
Do you want me to go, Mandy? And then
Neither one of you.
ponder while you're thinking about that one.
Well, because I don't even I have to decide if that's how I'm defining success. Like, do I
So I'll go and you can
go?
ponder and see if anything that I say resonates. And if not, you're on your own and I tried to help you. But when I think of success, and this is something I finally grasped because growing up in the 90s, they tell you this is what success looks like in America, and we're all chasing this dream. And I feel like, I'll point us out as millennials. We all got shafted because we've had so many catastrophic events happen in our lifetime, and we're 30 years old that I'm just like, what is success? Like, what these things that we were told as children growing up, like, you have to do this and be married and have a degree and blah, 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 this beautiful picture. And you're like, well, none of that's fucking happening because the world is a totally different place, right?
Mhm.
And so, what I have decided is success to me, and I have mildly achieved it, and is that I want more time. And by that, I mean, I can always make more money. I can always get nicer things, but you cannot buy back time. Like, every second that we talk is a minute lost, right? Or a second lost. And so I've learned that for me to be successful is that I want to have time to do what I want, to spend the time that I can with my partner, with my family, to do these things. And why I say mildly is because Rick and I go on trips all the fucking time because I want those memories. I want to go and live my life while I am still able to versus when I retire and I don't have time to do those things, right? Because everyone's always like, I have one vacation. I have one big vacation planned. Well, Rick and I have one every month, and our definition of vacations are different too because we consider camping to be a vacation. Mandy would not consider that to be a vacation. We talk about going to go do a slot canyon. Like, that is a vacation travel thing to us because we either camp or stay in a hotel and then we go do an activity, right? So I'm not talking like you have to go to fucking Disney World or wherever all the time. But to me, success is going to be when I have the time to do the things I want and not have the obligations of other things holding me back. And so I feel like with where I'm at in my given career path, I'm like mildly there because I'm my own boss and I can choose what I do and don't do. But time, because you can't ever get any back, is what I want more of. So that's my definition of success.
I love that.
I love that because it immediately, it immediately, as many things do, it made me think about a conversation that I had with the kiddo at a previous school. God bless him, he was the pot stir in class. He just had a lot of energy and nowhere for it to go. School was boring to him, so he's just going to go pick, 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 pick. What that looks like sometimes is he's the little shithead in class, and I recognize that energy and adore that energy most times. And he was avoiding doing whatever the assignment was that day. And he said, Miss, rich people don't know what time it is, don't know what day it is. I was like, tell me more. He's like, well, when you're so rich, time, you've got so much time. You don't need to know what day it is. You don't need to know what time it is because you just wake up and do what you want to do. He's like, don't you think that's what being rich means? You just get to do what you want to do. You don't care what day it is. You don't care what time it is. He's like, I want to be that. I want to be that rich. And I was like, I mean, I still need some structure in my day. I'm like, I need a little bit, but I was like, I would not disagree with you that, to be rich in this case for him, successful, Cassie, for you, looks like having the time to do what you want. I think that is huge. I think you're right. We are millennials. We done been through 15 different once in a lifetime fucking things, and it just keeps on and it keeps on. And it's like, bro, I don't even like, what are we doing? Like, I don't even want to try anymore. Like, this American dream is comical for me. I will not knock it for anyone who feels that that is for them. But for me, that American dream that was sold to us when we were little and, go to college and get the degree, graduate with the degree, get the job, get the family, like that really never resonated with me. I would say probably now more, it definitely doesn't resonate with me. And I would agree that, having the time and the luxury of time to do what I want, when I want, however I want, as much as I want, that is truly being successful. And you talk about professional, I'm like, I don't know that I've ever wanted to be seen as successful in my profession. I think earlier, younger me, for sure, those are my accolades. That was what I could take pride in. Being the first one to graduate from college, being the first one to get a master's degree, being the first one to get a license, being the first one to move away from my hometown, from my home state. Nobody really did that around me. Nobody did those things. And I just kept on going, and I never really stopped to think about it or think that that was like a big deal until I think it was my aunt. She was like, "I'm just so proud of you. You just have always done the things that you wanted to do and that you said you were going to do, and you just made a decision and you did it." And I was like, "I have never seen myself that way. I am very think about it, stress about it, not know about it, and then maybe do it." I would say as of lately, it's been very fuck it, book it, like YOLO, let's go ahead. Like, none of this is real. It's all a simulation. Money isn't real. Like, do the things that make you happy because you could die tomorrow. And God, I feel like we've been going really morbid lately, but my district is so big. I swear to God, I get a death announcement like every other day. Someone that had come to our campus that I had talked with in my first couple of weeks, she passed away unexpectedly on a random weekend, and her obituary was released. And in the obituary, it said she looked forward to retirement so she could finally travel. And I read that and I was like, I absolutely do not want to be that person. I remember having conversations with her briefly. I knew her for like 5.5 minutes. And she's like, "I have been in this district 26 years. I can't wait to retire. I want to travel." And I'm like, fuck that. I'm traveling right now. I got 76 cents in my bank account. What flight am I booking? Where are we going? Like, I'll figure it out. Cassie and I were talking about this earlier today. Like, I will figure it out. I don't know how, but that's the
But it'll
priority to
happen.
us. But it'll happen. The priority is travel. The priority is experience. The priority is like getting out here and learning from the world. So like success, I would agree. Success for me is probably going to look like the time and flexibility to do those things, but also to release that shame and that guilt about doing those things. Like when somebody, makes a statement like, "Oh, you think you're big time." Like, "Oh, so you just be doing whatever you want." The fuck, you're fucking right. Yes, I
Have
do.
you Have you seen those TikToks that says, "Oh, it must be nice," and you're like, "It fucking is." And
It
like
really fucking is.
it always is a travel one, right? But
Mhm.
I'm just like, it is. And it goes to what you said. You make certain things a priority. And some people, because you haven't birthed kids and neither have I, to some people, success is successfully raising good humans in this world. And we're not knocking
Mhm.
that and saying that that can't be a success for you because we are all
Mhm.
different, right? But it's what are you going to make a priority in your life? Like Mandy's like, fuck it, book it. Like, I don't want to wait until I'm retired. And girl, I feel you because, like I
Mhm.
said, we're always doing something. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting because I also used to think success was only career focused. And I think maybe that's where we were going with this is that success doesn't have to be career
Mhm.
focused. Is I was like, oh, I'm going to get the job. And Lord Almighty, if we have rattled off how many different jobs I've had and how many skills I have, like I've worked in
Mhm.
restaurants, I've worked in food chains, I've worked in maintenance departments. Like, you want me to build you a house? Let's fucking go. I grew up with an electrician as a dad, a plumber as an uncle, like you name it. It's like Bob the Builder, but we'll just call it Cassie the Builder. Like, I've worked in school districts, I've worked with in juvenile probation. Like, I've always done all of these different things, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to get me to the next step. And it never did because I was chasing this like empty version of success. And even when
Mhm.
I bought a house, I feel like this might be one of the only times I thought of success outside of a career is when I finally bought a house by myself. I was
Mhm.
24 or 25. And to me, I was successful because I had purchased a house by myself with nobody else, and nobody could take that away from me. And so I think outside of career wise, but even then, I quit the job that got me the house and went to something else. And then I just was like backpedaling. But I think it's very specific to people. Like, what is your version of success? And just because we're preaching that we love to travel, my dad, I just talked to him yesterday and bless his little heart. He was talking about how first off, he hates flying. So he will drive anywhere and everywhere. Like, he's drove to Florida with a trailer because he hates hotels. But he was talking about how he is going to Texas, how he has my wedding and he has my brother's wedding this year. And he's like, that's 3 vacations. That's way too much. I don't like this shit and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you don't have to come to my wedding if you don't want to, right? But it's like people like him, he doesn't want to travel. That is not his idea of a good time. Like he wants to work in his shop and do his things and he's about to retire. My mom just retired, and tried to figure out those things. Like what is success for you is different for everybody. And I think, like I said, just my long-winded version of that is it doesn't have to be career-wise. It's what do you want for your life?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So,
and this happened because I had mentioned being successful with my career. I was like, but that's not why I consider myself successful. I was like, it's actually achievements in many areas of my life that to me determine that I'm successful. And it's when I can feel proud and good about something that I have done, being successful with, having a home that I love, that I've created, that I've built a safe space for my kids. Success so far in raising my kids and who they are and how they're acting. Success yes, in my achievement of my education and the degrees that I got and the career milestones that I have made. Success, in what I've failed at. Like I'm proud of the lessons and the things that I've learned from failed relationships, from a failed marriage. To say that I wasn't successful at the marriage because it didn't come out the way that I wanted, but that I'm successful in terms of what I learned from that, the growth that happened from that, the finding myself and getting back into a life that I actually am more aligned for. Like I am proud of that. So in transparency, is that then my idea that I was successful then at that marriage? Yeah, because maybe that was the point of that marriage. Right. And so again, I agree with you. It's like whatever people want to define their success as. And I wrote down a couple of things there. And so one of them, I'm going to say it now so you guys can kind of think about it while then I say the other thing is success losing its meaning in general? Is it losing its purpose? That success is what drove people, what pushed people, what having that, like we've talked about, goals versus intentions. So is success itself losing its essence, its validation, its importance, right? And then so ponder that. But then what I wanted to say was that Cassie, you talked about all these jobs and these things that you did and like that they like didn't lead to what it needed to be and right. And but each of those things you were successful at because you reached what you needed to from it. You learned what you needed to from it in order to take a step to something else that took you to a step to something else to something. So I'm like, so to me, based on my perception of success, you've been successful at those things. And the same thing would go for Mandy and like going to college and doing the, I'm like, yeah, you are like, you got your license finally, like success. Like there's not, and it's not, and it's again, it's just that you've accomplished it. You've done something to be proud of. Like those jobs may seem so non-important and you've learned that actually maybe had more importance than you realized to lead to the next step, but you had to have success within that, even if it failed to go on. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I think it's interesting when this also goes into how all of us perceive different things, and it makes me think of the telephone game. And I'll be brief just so Mandy can have her thoughts too. But when we were talking about this question, and maybe our listeners are thinking this way, like I went very surface level with this question, like this is my idea of success. And Mary went straight to the fucking nitty gritty, down to the damn details. And in my head, I'm like, shit, is that what you asked? Right? Like, and maybe it is, but it's not how I interpreted it. You interpreted it different, right? And I think that just goes to show that Mandy asked one question and I gave an answer and you gave an answer and it's totally fucking different. So, Mandy, you can go about your thoughts now.
Well, one thing that these conversations always make me think about is for much of my life, success has been defined by what I can give to others, what I am to others, who I am to others. Cause, I wrote down like being a safe space where people feel like they can approach me or they feel like they can come to me with things, they can be vulnerable with things has always been important to me. And I feel like that is an indicator of how I do feel success, that I am despite all of my quirks and foul mouth and directness, that people still feel like they can depend on me, that they can come to me and be vulnerable, and that I am a safe space for them. But then, sitting with that, it's like, okay, so then am I just being that because that's what success is? Or like, is that who I am at my core? Like, at my core of who I am, what makes Mandy successful? Like, people aside, if people didn't exist, if those relationships didn't exist, then how would I define success? Because I'm a social worker. I'm an oldest sibling. I very much fall into all of those archetypes, the healers, the helping professions. Like, the burden is, you must care for the world, you must take care of everyone, you must fix everything, et cetera, et cetera. And Mary, you said, is success like losing its push or its motivator? And I think like traditional success, like buying a house, getting that job, starting your family, like going to college, I don't think that has the motivator that it does. Working with young people, they don't give a shit. The motivation is not there. The going to college, like that dream, that is not what motivates people to want to like stay alive every day and show up and do things in a meaningful way. Cause that's not what motivates us. So I think, people the question I always pose to therapy clients or coaching clients or even my students at school is like, what does success look like for you? How will we know that you're having a good time? How will we know that you're having the progress that is meaningful to you? And they're like, I can talk to my mom about my feelings. I can ask my teachers for help. Like, those things are about them. They're like, I will feel okay going to this person. I will be able to, like, it is very focused on I, me, we. Like, I will have the time. I will prioritize doing the shit that I want to do before I die. And that's not selfish, because for so long we have lived in a world that's told us that is selfish, especially as women. You are supposed to be a mom. You're supposed to birth a child. You're supposed to be a good partner. And I am here to tell you, fuck that. It is not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Everyone in my life has kids. They're in relationships. And I love that for y'all. But like, that's not my success indicator. I very much want to decenter, like having to be the person for everyone else and having to be that for everyone else. Like, just fucking do it for me. Just show up for me. Just do things that I feel success and joy in. And I think that releasing that weight maybe is my motivator at this point in life.
Right. Well, and I agree with that. And the internal, like I said, is what I feel proud of or accomplished of, like what. And so I was sitting here and you're saying this, and I was like, the words that I would use to actually describe me as a successful person is safety, security, peace, thriving. Like that's how I've determined that I'm in this place of I'm successful. Like, because I have, and does that mean that everything is checked off of what we expect? No, because it doesn't matter if those things come to or don't come to. It's right now, right here in this moment, the things that I have that I feel proud of, that I feel security, that I feel peace, that I'm thriving in, like I'm successful because
Mhm.
of that, because of those feelings for me.
I love that reflection. It makes me think of I know, right? Like, oh, let's just get in here.
That did give you the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Warm and fuzzies over here. But when I think about the way you put that, now that we are, 23 minutes into this episode, and it's always funny because Mandy talks about writing things down and like, so that way she can reflect on them. And I feel like as we keep talking, it's like our brains are reflecting, our listeners' brains are reflecting. And then all of a sudden we have like more aha moments as we progressively talk about these topics. And I would say that if I'm talking about my life, like I live a pretty happy life. I wake up and I am so thankful. I have, a man who loves to take care of me and treat me like a fucking queen. You know, if I do cry, it's because of my own damn doing. It's not like I cry because I'm getting yelled at. And to me, I guess that would be success, because everything that I just said never didn't used to be that way. Like I used to wake up and if I was breathing, that was okay. And if, I didn't get yelled at or beat that day, that was a good day, right? And so, I mean, it's the duality of looking at things in that way too, is I live a pretty good life right now. And I am thankful, grateful, and blessed every single day that I wake up about it. And I guess that could, in a roundabout way of thinking about it, that is a
Mhm.
success, is that I have been in the pits, and Mary and I talked about this in between episodes about, you think it can't get any worse, but it probably could. And
Mhm.
for me, my worst was when my mom asked if I was okay back in 2014, and I said, "You know what? I'm alive and I'm breathing, and that is all I can give you." And that was my lowest point. And so I know I'm like, you know what? It's a good day. Like I am here and I am breathing and I am doing. And so it's just interesting to like reflect, and even going off of what we talked about in the other episode or the previous episode is, you could tell me something a million times, but Mandy could tell me one time, and the way she said it, her tonality, like how she delivered the story, I'm gonna be like, holy shit, I'm gonna be mind blown. I'm gonna be like, wow, why didn't I think of that? And Mary's gonna be like, Cassie, I've been telling you that for freaking 15 years. And I'll be like, have you? Like, and that's what's nice about the three of us, is that all three of us are wildly different, yet oddly the same. And we do have different tonalities, pitches in our voice, our humor, the way we present ourselves. Like, we're all so different. And I think that's, again, one thing that I love about this. And it reminded me of another thing, because now I'm squirrel braining. Sorry, listeners. Mary was talking about something, and I was like, oh my gosh, when I talk to Rick sometimes, my tone is almost sounds so terrible for me, but it's like almost like I'm bored, but I'm not. That's not what I mean. It's just like he says something and I go, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And he's like, are you pissed at me? And I'm like, no, why would I be pissed at you? Like, why are you? He's like, well, the way you said it. And in my head, I'm just like, I didn't say I was mad at you. Like, why are, but that's what we all do, is
It's how
how
you
you
said it.
say things to other people, even though you didn't mean it to be. Like, I could say something and I mean it to be sincere, but if I even have a hint of sarcasm or laughing, people are going to think that I'm condescending and I'm being a fucking dickhole. And I'm trying to be sincere, but here we are, Cassie, just joking and making it a dickhole move, right? And so I think understanding that how we say things also has a huge factor in how things are perceived, taken, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you said something. I wanted to circle back to it. And now I don't remember.
You
Good
didn't write it
Lord.
down?
Well, because you had just said it. I hadn't made it that far.
Was it me
I don't know.
talking about my tone and how I was trying not to be a sarcastic asshole?
No, because I definitely do think you're always a sarcastic asshole. Like, that's where my assumption jumps to. And then I'm like, okay, it's Cassie. We got to back down. Because also, same, right? Like, if you don't,
Well, and I know that I'm a kind and caring person, but sometimes when I say stuff, like and I am very much, for those that don't know me, like I am a very high energetic, like my voice is definitely like more higher vibrations than most. And so sometimes when I am trying to have a serious conversation, I still have that tone. And then you're just like, this sarcastic asshole. And it's like, I'm really trying to be sincere. Like, work with me, please.
It's so funny. We're talking about this, and we just in the previous episode, we're talking about like facial and body language and like all of that. Like our senses, what you see, hear, touch, taste, like it all feeds in to what we take in and the communication of things. And so it's funny because the classes I'm taking like talks about, and again, it's not new information. It's just presented differently, right? And it talks in there about like saying a question and your tone goes up, like, and then saying something and it stays the same, and then saying something and it goes down. And that one is, interest and peak, right? And one is like factual. And then the other one is command, right? And it's as simple as that. Like three things, right? And we don't even think about it, right? And so it's funny because I was thinking about how I was just speaking a minute ago, and I was probably in that like middle, like almost eloquent, as you say, graceful, whatever, like tone of voice, factual, right? And it gave you those warm and fuzzy feelings. But somebody else might hear that and take that and be like, I can't stand this lady talking right now. She seems so.
This bitch needs to shut up, please, somebody else.
Or I know for me, like the more I get excited about, I'm passionate. Like there are times I have to catch myself and tell my own children, like, I'm not mad. Like I'm what? Hype. Let's fucking go. And they both just like, they know. They know that mom talking loud is not mad. Mom talking loud isn't yelling. Like, no, when mom's voice goes down, that's the like,
Yeah. 100%.
Like, that's fine. That's quite the pivot. It's quite the pivot. When I think about all of us have pets. They might be in the room with you. I've locked mine out. But like if you come home and you are like yipping and yapping and you're talking loud or you're like, my dog's gonna go fucking insane. Like she's already excited. She wants to like get hype with you. And we like me having to regulate myself in those moments. I'm like, that's a very real skill. That's why equine therapy is so successful because you can't be cutting up and acting a fool around a horse. Like you have to regulate your nervous system and like how you're showing up at those situations. And yes, tone and rapport and just like reading the room is so important to know that about people. And I think, we go back to previous episode about being perceived and like how people receive us and how they think about us. Like, yes, everyone is going to have their opinions of us because what you see in this podcast versus what you see on my personal TikTok versus what you see out in these streets versus how I show up as a professional at a school with kids. Like I had a slight panic because 3 of my new coworkers have now found my personal social media, which is it's not blocked. It's not private. It's out there for the world. I tell everyone like, I will not give it to you, but if you find it, you find it. So like if they want to go through the work to find it, well, you gonna find me. You're gonna find a lot of everything and a whole lot of nothing all at once. But I was panicked. I was like, oh shit, now they're gonna like perceive me. And then I'm like, I just get on there and I just talk about things that are important to me. And some days that's K-pop and sometimes that's my foster kid. And sometimes it's the really cool shit that happens at school. And sometimes I hate everything in the world and you're going to have to listen to it. Like it is. It's not things that I wouldn't say or put out there. It's just like, oh God, they're going to see me. God, they're going to hold me accountable, Cassie. Like, oh God, now I have to like do the thing. And then it's like that accountability piece also being seen. We talk about success and Mary gave us her beautiful words. And I'm like, yes, 100%, like peaceful. Yes. I want to cultivate peace. I want 100% for people to feel safe around me. I want all of those things. But for any of that to happen, you have to be all of your things. And sometimes that's a monotone person who's trying to give you a compliment. Sometimes it's a little fucking chihuahua bouncing off the walls, getting real excited about all of the things. And sometimes it's somebody cussing you out, lovingly holding your hand. Like you just you gotta know the situation, the context, whatever.
It's funny you say that because Davina asked me, and I don't know if I've talked about this yet or not, but she asked me, she's like, Cassie, why do you swear?
Oof.
And I was like, bless you, child. But because she will get so mad if Rick swears, she's like, Dad, you're not allowed to swear. But if I swear, she's like, whatever. But she's like, Cassie, why do you swear? And I do really well when I'm not telling a story or I'm like super passionate about things, then I definitely cuss way more. But I said, it's like a little seasoning. Like you got
It
to add some
is.
salt and pepper to your food to make it like get the point across. You got to add a little slap
How
your mama
Caucasian if you get
on there. I put slap your
yes.
mama. That's a little less
Happy mom. Okay.
Caucasian.
You led with salt and pepper. I'm like, come on. Yes.
That's what I got in my head. But
Any
I'm
hoochies.
actually learning to really like all the different spices. I can't do them just yet, but I'm trying. Ever since did I tell you
Wait
that?
till you get all the sauces as well. Like you get
Well,
all of the hot sauce and all of the srirachas,
I
the
used to be able to
gochujang.
do hot sauce until I had my motorcycle accident and I can't anymore. So I used to not be able to do salty things and I loved hot things. And then after my motorcycle accident, it flopped and I can only have salty things. I can't have spicy things. And so like, I'm like, gosh, how long ago was that? I graduated 18
God.
years ago, 17, I don't know, long time ago. And so it's almost been 20 years since my accident. And I'm just now being able to introduce that stuff to my food palette, which Rick loves. Anything with spice, like that is his jam. I'm just like, you're disgusting, but I'm trying. But yeah, anyways, she asked about swearing. And I was like, it just adds a little bit of spice to things. Like it narrates it. It's not great. I told her, I'm like, you don't call people a fuck. You don't do these things. Like you don't do a derogatory, even though sometimes I do. I was like, but normally if I'm like, this is so fucking good, I could say this is so good. And you'd be like, cool. But if I'm like, it's so fucking good, I have passion behind it.
I literally love just now that we were talking about spice as words and metaphorical. And then all of a sudden the two of you just took off with like about food and spices. And I'm sitting here like, this is it. I fucking love it.
Well,
And you
that's
guys
okay. I
talk
like I said, slap your mama, and I was like, I know she's gonna say something Caucasian about it. Like, you're so white, Cassie.
You led with salt and pepper, which, yes, that's a good baseline. But shit, you say fuck, and the fuck is not salt or pepper. Okay, fuck is gonna be a slap you mama. Fuck is gonna be like the seasoning, salt, the hot sauces of the world. So yes, I
It
am
doesn't
gonna
always
give you
have to
that.
be about aggression, and I think that's why people, like, especially that word, don't like it because they think it's like an aggressive, it's an
Oh my
attack
god,
thing, and it's like
my
you can use it in such a different.
You're
I don't
so
know.
fucking beautiful.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the interview with Kiki Palmer, and they're like, "What's your favorite cuss word?" She goes, "Motherfucker," because you can literally say it like that, motherfucker, and it's like she does her whole beautiful range. And I was like, yes. Before she even said it, I am like shouting it at the TV with her, like, "Motherfucker," because you can be. It can be all of the things depending on what the
Right.
situation is. And yes,
What,
I
depending on
think
your tonality of how you say it.
correct. And like, if you are in fact the motherfucker in front of me, like, I think you can reflect on why that would have been the
If
word
I'm
choice.
driving, you can take it how you want it.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
you guys talking about that, like, and talking about like authenticity and being one way this way and one way here and one way that, like, I can see people thinking like, well, then if you're changing who you are in different set, like, then you're not really being, and it's like, no, it's all part of you. You just know the time and place. Like, I'm not gonna talk to
Know
my
the time and
boss
place.
as a VA and be like, you fucking go, man. Like, no, I'm not gonna let's fucking go.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
do that. But with my
Mhm.
girlfriends and we're getting hyped and like, then yes, right? And so it's like
Yeah.
time and place. But just because you can be more composed in one thing and not like, or be all out in one other area, like, it's
It doesn't mean you're not successful if you
right. It
say
doesn't mean you're
fuck.
not successful. It doesn't mean you're not being authentically you. Like, it doesn't mean you're masking. When you're masking and not being authentic to you is when you are going in those moments, being a different person, but being a different person. You're not still, I am authentic in this embodiment. I am authentic in this embodiment. And there might be, and there definitely are some things that trickle between all of it, but there's little shifts, but I'm authentic to me in each of those paths. I'm not masking that anymore.
Yeah. Well,
And
and if you're talking to your kid, my kid is so incredibly smart. Sweet baby Jesus, bless me in these coming years. But like, I have to still have age appropriate conversations with her, right? Like, I can't just go full blown context. Like, I do use very correct terms. I don't like being using
Made up
stupid
words.
terms. Yeah. But like, I have to have age appropriate conversations with my kid, right? I'm not just going to go full on like how I'm talking to you guys, right? And it's no different than like, I have clients right now who are in their 60s, and how I talk to them is not how I talk to you, because you guys are in your 30s and they are in their 60s. And sometimes I need to slow down when I talk to them. Sometimes I love working with older people because they're so blunt and to the point that I'm like, there's no fluff. I don't have to give them fluff. They're like, Cassie, what is it? When are we doing it? What's the thing? And then if you're like, oh, well, do you have a specific time? They're like, well, what fucking time do you need? And you're like, whoa, so sorry. Like, right? So, like, it isn't like you're masking. You're just literally finding how I talk to Mary, how I talk to Mandy, how I talk to Rick. Rick is super analytical. That man's brain is a fucking spreadsheet. And I'm like, that makes no sense to me. And so when I get clients, I'm like, okay, pretend I'm talking to Rick, because how he interprets things is not how my brain is. There are so many times where he's like, Cassie, let's just stop and like break this down. And I'm like, I just told you 5 minutes worth of stuff. He's like, yeah, I wanted the first 30 seconds and I need to like, so you're not masking, you're just trying to figure out who is your audience, who are you
Mhm.
talking to? Just like go be too much. We are not for everybody, and that's okay, because who the fuck knows what we're talking about half the time? And a side tangent, Mandy and I talking about salt and pepper and slap your mama and spices. Like, where the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, really, who is your audience? Who are you talking to? And like, you're kind of just catering to that. No different than when Rick talks to me about his spreadsheet stuff. I'm like, I love you, but I have no idea what the fuck you're saying right now.
and again,
Just keep going.
allowing them to perceive you however they're going to, because
Yeah.
you're not in control of that. And those who are meant for you, truly, genuinely care, all these things, they're going to be like Rick, who's going to say, wait a minute, let's break this down. Or wait a minute, what I just heard is this. Or wait a minute, that's not how I was meaning you to take that. So can we try this? Like they're going to work with you on that communication style versus people who don't, like they're just going to have that perception of you and take you that way. Cause I can't tell you, you're talking about your kid and the cuss words and stuff. And I'm like, and Mandy was talking and things came in my head. I was like, oh man, yeah, no, all the time. I get people who are like, you are so intelligent. You speak so eloquent. And then there's other times that people are like, man, she is the ditziest, like weirdest little thing. Or I'm straight up have people be like, she's fucking crazy. Or she's stupid for thinking that. Like, and it's like, fine. And I will give this example. It just happened the other day. My brother, for my daughter's coming 16th birthday, was like, I'm going to get a DJ. And I thought that the DJ that he was talking about was this guy that he had told me about who works with Bailey Zimmerman. And I thought that guy was the DJ. That guy's not a DJ. He's the firework expert guy, right? And I was like, oh my God, are you going to get the guy for Bailey? I was like, could Bailey Zimmerman come? Like, that's where my brain went because my brain wants to believe anything is possible and magical. And why the fuck not? And I told him, you ask that guy, you ask him. And he's like, he's the firework guy. He's not the DJ. And I was like, well, he reached out to him and he was like, hey, where's Bailey this time of year? Right? Like just randomly. And he's like, yeah, he's not in Vegas this day. He won't be back to Vegas till like December timeframe. And then my brother went on to talk about like softball stuff. Ironically, he saw that guy at softball later in the week and he was like, man, that was a really weird thing. He's like, yeah, my sister's freaking stupid thinking that she could get you to get Bailey to show up. And I was like, you know what? I am, because if you don't ask, you don't know.
If you don't ask it, the answer is always no.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like, again, am I going to get down on myself? Do I think my brother thinks that I'm really stupid? No. Like, am I going to get down on myself about that and being that way? And
Loca
sometimes
Roca for a second.
I was like, and sometimes am I really intelligent? Other times, am I kind of the klutzy ditz? Like, yeah, and I own it and perceive it however you want.
I mean, I just the analogy I use a lot of times in just talking with people is like, you don't come to Arizona in the middle of fucking July in your winter parka and winter boots because that's not what's needed here. If I show up back home in December, January, February, and I am in my tank top and flip flops, there's a 50-50 chance that might be appropriate, but it might also not be appropriate. Like, I don't change who I am just because like I am in different gear. Like, I am still me, but I am planning accordingly based on what the need is, based on what the situation is. And like, I am still me at the core. It's just sometimes I have to have on like a full pant and a shoe versus like Arizona, God help anyone that like we need nothing here. It's going to be 80 fucking degrees all week again. You still show up in those situations as yourself. You just adjust as you need to, because it's a skill. It's a skill. It is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is always no if you don't ask. That is my favorite thing to tell kids. Like, the worst thing that could happen is you could be exactly where you're at. So if you ask and it's still a no, like, okay, fine, we're still here. But if you ask and it's a yes, Bailey Zimmerman is in town. It's a yes, he would like to come make your teenage daughter's dreams come true. Like what's the best
It's
that
like,
could happen?
how do you know that he isn't going to be in a meeting next week and be like, you know, I had the weirdest thing happen and I just want to tell you this. And for all you know, that very nice country singer is going to be like, you know what? Let's fucking do that. Get a hold of them. I'm just saying, people, you just don't know.
You don't know what you
No.
don't know. So you got to put it out there.
I know we're
Yeah.
getting close to time. So real quick, I just want to say, I know started with success. We're talking about Bailey. We're salt and pepper and shit everywhere. Anyways, I just want to say something in this that we didn't talk on, and we will definitely in future ones, is being thankful and being grateful. And like Cassie said, when things are really shitty and we just think this is the worst thing ever, and it can always get worse, but being grateful and being thankful and finding your blessings, like even if it's the smallest thing, it can shift so much in your life. And we need to slow down. We need to recognize that. And you saw it here firsthand, even Cassie sitting there and being like, yeah, I did, like, I have those things, right? Like, I'm in that place. And we forget where we're at, where we came from. So take a moment, pat yourself on the fucking back, and just be proud of like the things that you have gone through and where you're at. And even if where you're at still looks like utter and complete shit, solo shit. Like, I promise you, there are things in your presence that is better, different, you once asked for. So be grateful, be thankful, and redefine your own success.
Be too much. Be all the
Be
things.
too much. We're loud as fuck today. Anyways, we love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.